Everyone, this is Jason Burke, CEO of High Performance System Event Coach, and today I want to welcome my guest, Matt Ward, Breakthrough Champion, Referral Word of Mouth Expert. He has a new book out, The High Five Effect. So we want to welcome Matt here. It's such a pleasure to have Matt join us today.
Thank you, Jason, so much for having me. I greatly appreciate it.
No, you're welcome, Matt. So why don't you tell everyone about your new book, The High Five Effect?
Absolutely. So my new book just came out, just released on October 26th, called The High Five Effect, How to Do Business with People Who Bring You Joy. And I have always believed, Jason, that small business owners, those that have 10, maybe 20 less employees, they left the corporate world because they wanted three things. They wanted more money, more time, and more freedom. And they don't get any of those three things in the first 5 years, and sometimes never. And so this book sort of unpacks how to go about doing that. And I interviewed 50 small business owners and took their stories, their challenges, their lessons, and put them into this book, kind of redefined how small business success can be, what it can look like when you surround yourself with people who bring you joy and get rid of the problematic stuff that happens in small business, which is often what tanks a business.
So when you say, can you expand on the problematic, like the points of surrounding yourself with the right people? And I've experienced this in my own businesses of what happens when you don't surround yourself with the right people. So talk a little bit about that, about the points of surrounding yourself with the right people.
I mean, I think Jim Rohn said that if you surround you are the equal of the five closest people to you, right? And so this idea in small business of surrounding yourself with great people and even mastermind type events and groups and organizations and my tribe, right? This talk around this is really about understanding, what vibe you have and bringing the right people. Look, if you surround yourself with negative people, that's what you get, right? You're going to be negative. You just surround yourself with positive people, you're going to be positive, right? And this stuff rubs off on people. We see it in life everywhere. And it is so true in business. And this idea that you can level up your own self by surrounding yourself with other great people is a great idea. Now, you might think a person is great, and then they start to give you bad advice. So you still have to take the advice people give you with a grain of salt, mix it with the other advice other people have given you, and make your own decisions, make them as quick as you can so that you leave yourself enough time to pivot and adjust if you make the wrong decision. But ultimately, what I talk about in this book is if you're surrounding yourself with people that bring you joy, that make you happy, then your joy is going to be raised and you're going to be a much happier business owner. And when you come to the world of business ownership and you meet and talk to other business owners, you are going to be a happy person. You're not going to be a frustrated person, a sad person, a disappointed person, a depressed person. You're going to be a happy person. And isn't that who people want to hang around themselves? So that is going to produce more of the same, which produces more sales, right? More time on your hands because you can pick and choose your clients, and ultimately more freedom. So that's how you achieve that, more money, more time, more freedom philosophy that I talked about earlier.
No, that's fantastic. Now, one of the things is, tell us how sometimes small businesses have a hard time turning away clients that they know they should turn away, because that's such a big thing.
Yeah, Jason, there's a big section of the book that I wrote about this exact issue, right? Because small business owners see red flags all the time, and yet they still take on bad clients. And the reason they do so is because they need the money. And so in the book, I recreated, I should say, Maslow's hierarchy of needs into the client acquisition hierarchy of needs, right? So there's 5 stages in this hierarchy of needs, the first of which is survival mode, right? Survival mode. And then, it's one of those things where we're just scrounging for every little piece of the pie that we can get to. And what I'm going to do here is open up the page to show this on screen. The ideal client zone, ideal client. The chapter that is in this. I'm trying to find the picture right now so I can show the people on the video, because I think it's important to look at what Maslow, here it is. What Maslow's hierarchy needs looks like. It's the client acquisition hierarchy of needs, and it's the bottom one here. And so you have the same stages as in Maslow's, but it's a little bit different, right? It's survival, it's security, it's discovery, it's respect, and it's joy. So in survival, we're kind of caveman-like, right? We're just trying to, what can we scrounge up? That's the very first level. But then security mode. Security mode, I define this as the way to exit security mode is to get a predictable amount of recurring revenue every month. Predictable amount of recurring revenue every month. Because the minute you get a predictable amount of recurring revenue, Jason, you can push away any client you want. And you can fire any client you want. But until you figure out what your products and services are, and you are at a sustainable level that you can predict it and know what your expenses are versus your income, you're not going to be able to push away those clients. And that's a huge issue in small business. And it's why we take, because we don't have a predictable amount of revenue, it's the sole reason we take on clients we shouldn't take on. Almost every single time I ask somebody about a bad client experience as a business owner, I would say 100, if not 99% of the time, they told me that they saw that coming. They saw the red flag. They felt it in their gut, but they still took them on as a client. And then I followed up and said, why'd you do that? And they said, well, I needed the money.
Yeah, that's tough. It's always that juggling act, especially when you're starting out to build enough revenue. We need the funds, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're taking on the right clients, because you take on the wrong clients, that could lead to bad reviews and all kinds of things. If you take on the right clients, you will get better results with that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, think about this for a second. Let's just say for case study scenarios that you're selling a service, a coaching service, and it's $5,000, and you just come out of the gate. You're brand new today, and I show up and I say, Jason, I think I need that service. That sounds like a great service. Yeah, I'm looking for it. What's your price? And you say $5,000, and I say, oh, well, that's out of my budget. It's out of my budget. I can do 3,000. You immediately are now stuck. What do you do? Most new business owners will find a way to negotiate. And that's not really what we should do. Instead of negotiating, maybe what we should say is, well, can you do $1,000 a month for 5 months? It's still $5,000. I just worked out a payment plan with you. Or maybe it's, can you do $1,100 or $1,200 a month for 5 months? It's a little bit more if I finance it back for you, right? The service that you offer isn't any less valuable just because I can't quite afford it as a payment, one-time payment right now. It's not any less valuable, right? And that's part of, there's a whole section in the book about value. And we get to the point where we're establishing value for ourselves in the marketplace. We're getting respect from the industry that we're in. People start to respect us. We start to respect ourselves, and we don't take on those clients.
No, I think that's so important too, because just the way you say, you look at it, like if they can't afford 5,000, you can do a payment plan for 5 months, and you'll get a little more than 5,000. It's just a way for them to afford it, and you're getting a cash flow every month that, as long as they're paying, you get that consistently every month. And it's a great thing. Another big thing is a lot of small business owners talk because they want financial freedom. They're sick of the corporate world. They don't want to necessarily be there. So how does you view as small business owners defining financial freedom, and what are some of the pitfalls that they don't realize with that when they're first coming out the gate?
From a freedom perspective, one of the things I really think about with the word freedom is that for myself, I've defined that as doing what I want, when I want, where I want, how I want. Right. But at the end of the day, freedom is about choice. It's not about whether or not you want to work today, right? Or take the day off, which small business ownership gives you that opportunity, right? It is not about whether or not you can take the day off. It is about whether or not you have the choice to take the day off, right? And so me personally, I choose to have more free time in my calendar over more money in my bank account. That's my personal choice. I don't need millions of dollars. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is not having my calendar blocked on a consistent basis. So the programs that I create are either short sprints for clients, they're monthly calls for my group monthly coaching call, which is like once a month. So it's not blocking every Wednesday in my calendar, it blocks the second Wednesday, right? Or it's more ad hoc. So one-on-one clients just call me when they want. They're not pre-scheduled 4 weeks out, 5 weeks out. You know, you're working with me, Jason. You're not getting every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Like that's not something I'm okay with. And I don't even care. I've had people say to me, I'll pay you more. And I'm like, no, that's not how I operate. I understand that you want this coaching call. You want it scheduled in your account, but that's not how I work. And so that's me pushing back on these clients or prospects to say, you're not a good fit for me if you need a calendar appointment every week recurring in your calendar, right? Because I know that triggers me in a very uncomfortable way to look 4 or 5 weeks out and see my calendar already blocked up with client calls. I much prefer that my clients have a call with me this week and at the end of the call, set up the call for next week. Now I can see, I know what my calendar looks like next week, right? And I'm flexible. I'm happy to talk to people after hours. I'm happy to talk to them on weekends. That's a choice I choose to make. That's a trade-off for not booking further out. And I'm good with that.
No, absolutely. So you really need to know as your small business owner what works best for you, your schedule, build around your life. So if you don't want to have client calls scheduled 4 or 5 weeks, then make that choice and stick with that choice. Just know the pros and cons of those choices as that.
Yeah. And Jason, you know, one of the things I see a lot is I see small business owners controlled by their business. And my hope is that with this book, they will break free from the control of their business and start to control their business themselves. Design the business that works for their life, not the life that works for their business, right? Because that's never what it was intended to do, right? We didn't start the business because we wanted to be controlled by something else. We left corporate world because we were already controlled by something or someone else, right? And so we said, this is not for us. I can do this better and differently. And so I'm going to go here and do it this way. And then it took control of us. And that is no fun at all.
No, I mean, you want to have how you want your life to look like, how you business fits that. So you're running your business and your business is not running you. And what would you say is some of the pitfalls that you see small business owners make that block them from joy or the financial freedom or the time freedom that they so desire? That's why they left the corporate world.
Well, I think there's a big issue in this idea of boundaries. Do you allow your clients to go over the guardrails that you've set in place of your business? And sometimes it means you have to set the parameters and then just keep to the parameters, not change it. You know, I think that small business ownership is interesting, Jason, because I think that many small business owners when they go into the sales conversation about their product or service, they want people to buy for all the wrong reasons. They want primarily to buy for acceptance of themselves, because if the person doesn't buy, they don't like me, or I didn't do good enough, or there's a lot of head trash that goes on. And the reality is that small business owners really need to understand that not everybody out there is for them. My coach, I think I quoted her in the book. My coach says, you got to know who you're for and who's for you. Right? She's a communications coach. She's not even a sales coach, right? You got to know who you're for and who's for you. And so too often, I think we're just trying to take on any client we can possibly get our hands on. And it's for the money, it's for acceptance, it's for a lot of reasons. But if we started a business and we got phone calls, you know, we started a landscaping business and we got phone calls that said, hey, do you do irrigation? The answer should be no, not, I don't currently do it, but I can come check it out. No, why? No, just stop. Just stop. That's not good.
No.
It's too much project and service creep, and it's going to draw you away from what you currently do. Try to get as niche on your topic as possible and as targeted to a market as you possibly can. The closer to the target market you are, the more business you're going to bring in. And there's a big component in the book about that as well.
No, that is fantastic. And you want to go over any other tips that small business owners should be aware of, especially you cover in this book, The High Five Effect?
I just think the biggest thing is believe in yourself. Yeah. Believe in yourself, Jason. Set the parameters that you have for what you want in your life and your business and hold firm to those, right? And it takes time to get there. It takes a gut muscle that you have to build up over time. I talk about that in the book as well. There's a lot of opportunity to make your business work for you in the way that you want it to. You just have to believe in yourself that what you've put in place is going to work. And hold true to that. Don't compromise your personality traits and the style of business that you want to run just because somebody else thinks you should run it in a different way. Just don't let the little guy on. Yeah, be true to yourself, right? Be authentic. Don't let the guy on your shoulder talk head trash into you. Like this is not the right way to do it. That little guy doesn't know anything. You know what's the right way. But too often we pull back, right? We have self-doubt. And it's just one of those things where we just have to believe in ourselves more. And this is the one thing I've always believed this around sales, especially when it comes to running a small business, Jason. They need you more than you need them. That's very simple. Yeah, pretty simple.
That's so true. Yeah, which is excellent. So do you have any final tips that you want to leave our audience, Matt? I mean, and then naturally give them a way that they can reach out, they can buy the book and everything like the High Five Effect.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of the day is surround yourself with some great people. You start to do that, you're going to bring joy into your life. You're going to bring joy in. You're going to start to understand how other people run their business. You're going to get a lot of tips and advice. So you can find people like that at the chamber, in Facebook community groups, in networking groups, in live networking. There's a lot of places you can find community and you can start to trust people and start to learn and watch what they're doing. And that's the biggest tip I think I've got for people. As far as getting the book goes, yeah, they can go to high5effect.com. That's all spelled out, HIGHFIVEEFFECT.com. And they can pick up a hard copy of the book. And if they want to get a couple additional copies to send out to friends, there's a huge amount of bonuses in there for if they were to buy 5 copies, or buy 10, get 10 free is the big bonus offer that includes some free coaching from me, both on business and referral coaching, as well as enrollment into my new referral accelerator program in 2022. So lots of good stuff. That's high5effect.com. Jason, I appreciate you having me on. I'm so honored that you took the time out of your day to have this conversation with me. And as I always like to say at the end of every conversation, at the end of every video, at the end of every single podcast or keynote that I do all across the country, don't forget to live happy, smile a lot, and high five everyone around you.
High five. Thanks, you
Jason.
So much, Matt Ward. I appreciate you here for this podcast, the High Performance Summit. This is Jason Burke, and then Coach. And thank you again, Matt Ward.